Hey everyone, my name's Rich and welcome back to my channel. The last video I showed, we just bought my wife an AE86, which is right behind me. And then yesterday actually was the 26th annual All Toyota Fest. And we actually were awarded an Outstanding Workmanship Award for the 11 back there. I still haven't done anything on that car as far as posting any videos about it or talking about it, but we'll probably do something with that pretty soon. In the meantime, I just wanted to touch base on the car here. We got a few things that we're gonna do. First things we're gonna do is try to buff it out. I did a little bit of work. It's kind of tough to see, but it's super smooth. So I think we've got some hope for this paint. I'm not a professional in any way. I watched plenty of YouTube videos and just figured I'm gonna give it a shot. So I've got my buffer stuff. I've got some wet sanding paper. I went out and bought an orbital, a Ryobi orbital. Got a bunch of different sanding discs here, some polish, and we're just gonna give it a shot. I did it with my 71 Corolla, and that actually didn't come out too bad. Single stage paint. This is probably single stage as well. So we're gonna give it a shot and see what happens. First thing we're gonna do is try and finish off the hood here and see. Again, I don't know if you can see it. There's weird shadows and stuff, but there's all kinds of fish eyes and it's really rough. So let's give it a shot. I'll document as much as I can, and hopefully it'll be something for you to watch, and we'll go from there. So here's my thought process. I'm going to start off with a 1200 disc sandpaper on the Ryobi, and I'm going to try and use some soapy water. When I did a little test run, I used just some water, but it seemed to dry out pretty quickly, and I don't know, it was kind of like constantly having to wet it. I'm wondering if I need to use a little bit of soap to add as a lubricant. So that's the thought process right now. We're going to start with 1200, try and knock it down, see how that looks, and then go from there. We'll try the soap. If that doesn't work out, we'll go back to the water, but I think the soapy water is probably going to be good. I've only put like about 4 or 5 drops of like a car soap in here. Again, if I'm probably doing it wrong, feel free to leave a comment below, tell me what I'm doing wrong. But hey, I'm probably just like a lot of you, just going to try things out for the first time and see how it goes. I do not claim to be any professional in any way whatsoever. It's just a hobby, just want to have some fun. And so, plus with this paint job, again, the biggest concern here is we're not too worried about having to take care of this paint because we do plan to repaint it. It's kind of a crappy paint job, so if I ruin it, I ruin it. If I get a burn spot, I get a burn spot. It's not that big of a deal. So we'll give it a shot and see how it goes. Let's follow along. So as mentioned, I picked up this Ryobi 18 volt what was it, orbital, random orbital sander, I think is what it's called. It's got the Velcro. It's got the Velcro snaps on it. So we're gonna set that on there. We're gonna hit it with some soapy water, and let's give it a shot. Alright, so you saw it only took about, what, a minute maybe at the most, maybe 30 seconds or so. You could hear it kind of getting sticky. I think that's it just kind of drying out. Let's see what we got here. So I should preface this by saying that I did wipe down the car first. And I'm just doing it right over the dirt or anything like that. Not that I think it would make that much difference because this car is so bad. But let's see how this looks. Oh yeah, it's definitely working. I've done it by hand before, but I figured this time I want to get a sander because this whole car needs to be done. I didn't want to take forever to do it. So as you can see here, hopefully on camera, it's gotten some of this stuff out. These are probably going to be harder edges to get, but the 1200 definitely did a nice job of knocking this down. So I'm probably going to go 1200 and then maybe like a 3000. I don't want to get too crazy just because I don't want to burn through the paint. But you can see definitely how it's gone from this rough stuff to already much smoother finish. So good start. All right, we got the first what was it, 1200 I think I said grit. Again, I know it's gonna be tough to see in the camera, but it's pretty flat now. You could tell it sounds much better than that. There's some fish eyes, which obviously I'm not gonna be able to get out just because they're kind of deep. But I think we got it pretty good. I'm gonna hit it next with a 1200, or let's see, 2000. I'm gonna try 2000 and see what that does. And I think what we're gonna do is just kind of do this panel because I'm kind of anxious to see what's gonna happen and be able to show you guys what it looks like rather than doing the whole car. We'll do this chunk and see what's up. So let's move on 2000 and see how it goes. Okay, so we've hit it with the 2000. It's taking it from the flat. You can actually kind of start to see some reflection from the light in the garage. So it's kind of like doing headlight lenses and stuff like that, where you go from different grades of or grit of sandpaper where it gets rougher to smoother. So it's starting to add a little bit of a polish to it. So I'm getting pretty excited about this. I think the trick here is not to get too crazy. So from the 2000, I think we're going to step it up to, what do we have here? Let's see here. We have 1500, 2000, and I've got 3000, 4000, 5000. So maybe we'll go with, I thought I had 4000. Well, let's see. I'll let you guys know after I do this next one. But let's switch it out and see what happens. Okay, so far we've hit it with 1200, a 2000 grit pad, and then a 4000. So one of the things that I'm noticing is you got to be patient. You can definitely see the difference in the shine on the paint. You can see a reflection now. And I'm hoping the buffing process will work. What I don't know is how to tell if you've burned the paint or not. I mean, I assume if you burned it, you've gone through too much. There's a little spot right here that doesn't really want to polish up, so I'm not sure. One of the other things I noticed too was I'm not putting any pressure on it. I'm just kind of letting the orbital sander just kind of rotate around. But I did notice that if you want to get along these edges here, where it's not hitting along the center, you do need to put a little pressure on the ends of it with your hand, just slightly, just so that it'll actually hit those spots. So I'm sure there's some detailer out there that might get a chance to watch this and is just probably cringing at what I'm doing, but it's a learning process and I figured it'd just be fun to try it. So the next step here, I'm going to bust out the compounds and the buffer, and we're going to hit this with a couple of 3 different pads to try and get the polish up on it, and let's see how it looks. So for the pads, I bought some off of Amazon, Chemical Brothers, light medium polishing pad in white, a finishing pad in black, and a medium heavy cutting pad. So I'll start with the medium heavy cutting pad first, and I'm using Groit's Complete Compound. I'm just gonna throw some on the thing like I've followed on some of these other detailers, put a few drops on top of the pad, kind of get it moisturized, or wet, I guess you could say damp, put a little bit on the hood, and then we're just gonna take our time and go back and forth doing sections at a time. You go cross and then the other direction. It's kind of what I did with the sanding as well on the orbital, just because I don't know any other better way. I'm not sure if you're supposed to go in a circle, whatever it is, but whatever the case is, that's what we're trying. We're gonna see how it goes. So let's move on to the first pad here, this medium heavy cutting pad with orange, and let's see how that looks. All right, so that was with the first medium cutting pad. One thing I should noted is that I actually set the speed at about 3.5 or 4 on the orbital polisher there. I guess I'm going slower speeds with the softer, the finer the finishing compound. I think that's what I saw in the YouTube video, so that's what I'm doing. Now, one of the challenges I'm running into is I'm having problems getting these edges right here consistent. But you can already see a pretty big difference. Hopefully you guys can see it on the camera. But you know, you kind of go from this to this. So far looking pretty good. I think this is going to be the biggest challenge. I don't know how I'm going to do that. We're going to go to the next one, and I'm going to turn the speed down to about 2.5 and buff it with that one. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so it's pretty incremental. I'm not sure if you guys can see the finish difference, but it's coming along pretty good. Again, this is still not the greatest. It's pretty flat looking. I know I've been time-lapsing these things, so what I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually record myself with the final polishing pad. Do it at normal speed so you guys can see how quickly I'm going or what speed I'm taking to kind of go over this stuff. I don't want it to look like I'm going super fast on it. Let's take a look at how it looks with the final polishing pad. This is a black polishing pad. I'm still using the compound. I know there's all kinds of different theories on how you can put this stuff on. I just put a bunch of it on there. I'm going to turn the speed down to about 1.5, a little under 2. And I just try and work it in sections, go back and forth, and diagonally, and then kind of move on to there. Alright, I'm pretty happy. It's so much better than it has been. It's looking pretty good. Let me show you guys what it looks like. So you can see here it was rough. Hopefully you guys can see that. You can see how nasty this is, and it's pretty good right here. So I've got a little bit to do up here. You can kind of see some of the reflections hopefully, but like I said, along this edge is not that shiny. I'm going to throw a little coat of wax on it and take a look at the final look. So for this step I'm using some Carnauba Wax. I don't know if you guys can see, it's probably dark, but anyways, it's Carnauba Wax, McGuire's. Just on a little pad here. Try to let it dry out a little bit, so let's see how this looks. You see that reflection where it goes back to that. Anyways, that's the process. Did a little chunk there. Again, I'm not a professional. This is not going to be perfect, but now we just got the rest of the car to go. I'm not going to film it on this one, but I will show some finishes and some clips, and hopefully this works out. Either way, I appreciate you guys joining me this time, and we're going to get back to buffing. Thanks, we'll see you next time. Oh yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that other stuff. Leave a comment below, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, thanks guys, appreciate it.